Hey sports fans, join me in welcoming Mike O'Connor to the conversation. As an NBA analyst, he's been creating great what-if scenarios, as well as player and team breakdowns. So check out his work and make sure to suggest your favorite what-if scenario that you'd like to see here at BBallBreakdown. You in?
What is going on, everybody? Mike here, and today we're going to be doing a little revisionist history, going back in time to 1998 when the Sixers drafted Larry Hughes with the 8th pick in the NBA draft, passing up on Paul Pierce and Dirk Nowitzki. Now, as everybody knows, Hughes maxed out as a decent player in the NBA, and Sixers fans will always be left wondering what could have happened had they taken Paul Pierce or Dirk. And a lot of people may think Iverson is the type of guy who couldn't coexist with another star, or maybe worked better as a one-man show like in 2001. But let's take a look at some film and see if we can predict what it would have looked like and exactly how good the Sixers could have been. So the first thing you got to point out when looking at the Sixers offense from back then is that the bulk of it was the Iverson series. For anybody that doesn't know, the Iverson series was essentially a variation of Iverson Cuts, which is Iverson making a cut from one wing to another, receiving a ball screen at the elbows, maybe taking a mid-range jump shot. But what you notice is that this series is very, very repetitive, and the Sixers just didn't have the personnel back then, with guys like George Lynch or Eric Snow or Matt Geiger, to get very creative with these cuts. So here I want to take a look at some sets that the Denver Nuggets run, because they're a really good example of a team that uses the Iverson series, but adds a lot of good variations in there. Here you're going to see one of the three Denver big men, the European big men, catching the ball in the high post, and a guy like Will Barton, or in this case Gary Harris, being able to use space off the ball after that Iverson cut to cut to the basket or even to flare out to the three-point line. But what you're noticing over and over again is that having the threat of a guy in the high post, in this case Nikola Jokic, but in the Sixers case could have been Dirk Nowitzki, having that ball in the high post, being able to create, being able to see over the defense and make reads. And the Denver Nuggets do a great job with these variations, and had the Sixers had a guy like Dirk Nowitzki, you could have used these variations over and over again as opposed to simply making Iverson cut from wing to wing and toss up mid-range jump shots and becoming extremely inefficient in the process. Here again, look at the freedom that Barton has off the ball, being able to get out to the three-point line for an open jumper, and that's just something Iverson never had. He never had that liberty. He was never able to roam off the ball in any kind of freelance manner. So here you're seeing Gary Harris get to his open spot. He does miss the jump shot, but that's a really good look for a guy like Iverson. Here you see Jokic catch the ball in the high post, and the amount of freedom that Harris is able to create off these Iverson cuts is remarkable. Now let's take a look at how the Sixers would have used a guy like Dirk in this system. So here you're going to see Barton make the Iverson cut and then a strong side screen for Jokic. That's something that the Sixers could have really used with Dirk to get him in great post position very, very often. This set works a lot for the Nuggets. You see them run it at least 10 times a game. It really gets Jokic in great post position, and it's something that Dirk could have really benefited from had he had that privilege in Philadelphia. So now let's take a look at how Paul Pierce would have fit into the equation here. Here's a set that the Cavs run a lot out of the Iverson series, where you're going to see LeBron make the Iverson cut and then a flare screen set for a guy like J.R. Smith or Kyrie Irving. And the space that they're able to create off of these cuts is remarkable. Here LeBron attracts two defenders, see the flare screen for J.R. Smith, and he cans a three-point jump shot. Now, Paul Pierce isn't exactly the spot-up shooter that J.R. Smith is, but imagine him in a situation where you can create out of a triple threat, being wide open on the perimeter. That is something that really would have benefited Iverson, and just having that privilege. Here's one set I saw a lot from when Iverson was on the Nuggets that they use with Iverson and Carmelo, where you see Carmelo set a logo screen for Iverson and go into a pick and pop situation. And this is a set I like a lot, and that could have really worked well with Paul Pierce. You see there, Michael Finley can only give a weak hedge because he has to stay honest with Carmelo, and then Iverson's able to finish over the defender. That's something, again, that Paul Pierce would have been great for the Sixers, just having a guy to attract some gravity on defense. And Paul Pierce would have been a great fit not only offensively but also defensively. He finished in the top 10 in the league in defensive win shares 6 times. And you're going to see here he does a great job of icing the pick and roll, forcing his matchup baseline. And that is exactly the strategy the Sixers use under Larry Brown basically trying to hide Iverson's on-ball defense by forcing any person that attempts to drive to the baseline and then forcing them to kick it out and having Iverson play free safety. Now, Iverson actually led the league in steals 4 times as a result of this strategy, and Paul Pierce would have been a great fit for the Sixers. In that era of wing-heavy basketball with guys like Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Kobe Bryant facing them night in and night out, it would have been huge for the Sixers to have a guy like Paul Pierce able to match up with them and able to create steal situations for Iverson. So there you have it, guys. I hope you're left wondering, like I am, what could have been had the Sixers not been stupid enough to draft Larry Hughes with the 8th pick. Maybe the Sixers could have had a duo that rivaled Shaq and Kobe for all those years coming out of the East. And I think the most unfortunate part out of all of it is that Iverson's reputation has taken such a hit over the years, being called a chucker, a ball hog, when really I think the problem was that they didn't have the personnel to be creative with their offensive sets. It was forced to be the same thing over and over again. And a guy like Dirk Nowitzki could have really opened that offense up. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Leave me a comment if you want to see something like this again in the future.